Hi, this is going to be Paranormal episode, I believe it's 8, and it's going to be on extraterrestrial / aliens. I believe I've done an episode on this before, but it wasn't dedicated to aliens specifically. If not, or if I have, I apologize, and I'll try not to be redundant, but another person who was recently joining me on a lot of these paranormal shows wanted to do one on aliens, so it gives a little bit more perspective from different people. I got these these shades on because I thought they looked kind of alienish, but I'm about to take them off because they're going to give me a headache, or worse than the headache I already have. As far as like how late it is, basically the reason for that is I forgot all about the real reveal, which is still currently going on, the question and answer. So, not really sure how many people are going to watch this live, but if you watch it on replay, it's fine. Completely understand. Basically. And, as long as somebody's watching, it's good. But, basically, I tried to wait as long as I could, but it's past midnight, and if I wait any longer, I'm just not going to want to do it. And I really don't want to get back into the habit of not doing shows when I'm supposed to, because it turns into a habit. So, that being said, like I said, if you don't watch it live, it's fine. And as far as my setup right now, it looks really weird because I'm back on my laptop, because I don't want to do it on my desktop with it still having issues and have the chance of it doing its normal crap of freezing and rebooting in the midst of the show. So to avoid all that, I'm going back old school, doing it on my laptop until I can figure something out. So I'm waiting on one person to show up. The person that wanted to do this specific episode. And he better not freaking disappear on me again, or I will hunt him down. I did do notes, hopefully to be a little bit more prepared. But a lot of it is contingent on another person's input. So until then, I'll try to stall as long as possible without being annoying. But anyway, some things that are coming up. Somebody asked me why the one video I did, the live show I did, was taken down or not made public. It was the one for yes. Is like for converting vapors and like for new vapors, whatever. The reason I took it down is because it ended up being very vague and all over the place, and I didn't like the way it turned out, basically. And there wasn't enough interaction with people because there's what I guess wasn't a lot of new vapors that needed questions answered or whatever. So it just, I don't know, I didn't find it very useful, and I just didn't see the point of making it public. So that's why it wasn't released. I may redo it in the future and just do it, not on, not live. So that way it's a lot shorter, a lot more concise, and it'll hopefully address most people's concerns or questions. So, yeah. Another thing that's going to be coming up soon is it'll probably be the next one. I'm going to do like best single flavor mixes, which are just one flavor at a certain percentage, and that's it. If you're just starting off with DIYing, doing complex mixtures is probably not going to turn out well. So it's a lot easier just to stick with one flavor and just do it that way. The problem is a lot of flavors, most flavors I would say, don't taste very good on their own. They're kind of flat, bland, whatever. These specific flavors aren't like that, and they're complex enough, in my opinion, to just mix by themselves. And it's also cheaper because you're only paying for one flavor as opposed to several different ones to make one juice. So that'll be coming soon. Eventually, I do want to do like a DIY kind of thing for beginners, like tips to do for beginners, but Again, I'm just afraid of doing it live because it just tends to get so drawn out, hours long, and all over the place. So unless there's enough interest in that show where people will actually ask questions and stuff like that, I don't know. I'm kind of reluctant to do that because I feel like we kind of already have that with the whole Saturday show that Fresh and I do, where you can ask questions there if there's just like a couple of people. But the reason I wanted to do a whole show dedicated to it is because you can go in more detail and ask more questions, because with the DIY show on Friday or Saturday, we're also mixing as opposed to just having it dedicated to answering questions, if that makes any sense. So that's what's coming up. As far as paranormal related, why is Momo... That's Yeti. That's the one I'm waiting on mainly. He said he didn't get the link. Or no, that ain't right. Hold on. Oh, such a pain. I'm so unprofessional. I'm so sorry. That's one thing that may never change. I don't know. I try to do better, but you know, I even have notes laid out, and you see how it goes. You know, a big thing that kind of like threw me off is the fact that I didn't know the real reveal was happening tonight. I knew that it was coming. I just didn't know it was tonight. And then I was literally getting ready to make a live show, like schedule the event or whatever. And then I noticed in my feeds that the reveal was on tonight. And it was on the time that I was planning on starting. So yeah, it just kind of threw me off. And I'm the type of person, if my plans don't go as they're supposed to, it just like fucks up everything. And that's like a big issue of mine. I wish I wasn't like that, but unfortunately I am. So, okay, we have a couple people now. I think I've stalled long enough. Hello, Fresh. Hello, Yeti.
Hello. Hello.
I was explaining earlier, I'm back on my old setup, so hopefully I won't have the issue of me, you know, dropping out or whatever. Hopefully. Somebody have me on.
I do not.
I hear something in the background.
The telephone on?
Yeah, hang on just a second.
So in case you don't know what we're doing tonight, Fresh, we're going to talk about extraterrestrials and aliens.
Oh, okay.
I think we've done an episode talking about it, but I don't know if
Indeed we have.
I don't know if it was specifically dedicated to it, and even if it was, I don't know, it's something that I can talk about forever, and Yeti wanted to talk about it too, so it's all for Yeti.
It's all for Yeti, got it.
It's all my fault.
No, it's all for you, like the song from Jackson. It's all for you. I'm almost doing her show, so there's that.
Ah, there it is.
So just a quick plug real quick. The real reveal is still going on. If you haven't watched it live,
Is it over?
play at Fluffy McMuffin's channel, or I think it's Real Reveal. Is that the name of the channel?
The hashtag real. No, it's Fluffy McMuffin.
All right, so do that. It's not Mark Fagan. So, yeah. I did send some questions for Yeti. I don't remember if I've talked to you about these questions. Just for things for him to think about before the show started. Because I've done a lot of research on aliens and abduction. And I've said it before, I don't even know that I necessarily believe in the whole abduction scenario. Not saying that it can't happen, I'm just saying I'm not sure that I believe it completely. But I still find it interesting to read on it and watch things. And the weird thing about this phenomena, or the phenomena of like aliens, whatever, is like they have like this abductee list, like just like these list of things that may indicate whether or not you're an abductee or not, because sometimes you just don't know because your memories are blocked. But the list that they have, and there's several different ones, they're really abstract. Like the things that they bring up, some of them are like common sense, like, you know, headaches, nosebleeds, because, you know, if they're implanting things or doing whatever, that's going to happen or probably going to happen.
Right.
But some of the things that they bring up are just like weird. Like how do they come up with that, number one, and number two, why is it so common amongst these people? It's odd.
Can you give me an example?
Like having to sleep with the fan on.
That's tinnitus. That's not.
Well,
That's ear ringing. So that would be
Well, my ears don't ring.
that you notice. Let it get really quiet when you're trying to go to sleep.
No, I use the fan because if I don't, all the other sounds in the house keep me awake.
drive you nuts.
Interesting.
You know, I live with a lot of people, and I need white noise. And then another one is aversion to open windows. Like, you have to have your windows closed or, like, covered. You don't like to see out them, especially at night. Another one is not being able to sleep at night. You know, just problems with sleep in general, but not being able to sleep specifically at night. But if you have to sleep during the day, you typically don't have issues. Things like that are just kind of weird. And they might be common, and you might be looking too far into it, but I think it's odd.
I think how that list got started was when they were compounding all these experiencers. That's the new term that they're using now. They found all the things that they had in common, and everything that everybody had in common. You know, just kind of wrote them all down, and then everybody that would come along, they would ask them all down, and you know, after time, they came up with just these 30. I think it's like 32 questions or 35 questions, whatever it is. You know, and they narrowed it down to basically where everybody that has experienced this has answered yes to all those questions, and that's why they use that. They use it for basically just a basis, like a baseline, to see if it's a yes or a no if the person doesn't know for sure.
Yeah.
Is this on the? I'm gonna look it up. I'm assuming it's available, right?
Yeah. Look up under MUFON. MUFON's the one that they asked that of people. Bruce Maccabee's the one that started the list or the questions.
Yeah, I don't know if I've tried that specific one, but I just like Googled like abductee tests or symptoms or whatever, and it came up.
Yeah.
But I do want to eventually try that one. I meant to do it before the show, but like I said, I was like thrown off by everything and just not.
What's the website?
MUFON, MUFON, and I don't know if it's a .com or a .org. I think it's com.
Experience your questionnaire. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
I'll put that out in the chat.
And as I said before, I'm not saying that I am an abductee. I honestly don't think I am. And if I am, I don't want to remember, so I'm not going to go digging around for shit.
Yeah.
But I just find it ironic that I do have a lot of these random, you know, symptoms or characteristics or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Exactly. Excuse me. I too, I scored extremely high on it, and I don't know why. You know, I don't have any reason that I know of to have scored that high. But I did.
Yeah.
I aced it, let's say.
Yeah. Every one that I have taken, and like I said, I don't remember if I've taken that specific one. I don't think I have. I always score high on it. And and it could be just like this specific type of people, because it seems to be a specific group of people that are drawn to this stuff or experience this kind of thing, which are usually socially withdrawn, depression issues, anxiety issues, sleep disorders, stuff like that. I mean, that does seem pretty common. So it could just be commonalities between those types of people, but I don't know. It's hard to say. I still find it interesting nonetheless.
Yeah.
You
Well,
not do
that's
that?
like the whole thing, like with windows being open. I remember when I was a little kid, I couldn't stand for like the curtains to be open, or even like the blinds to be turned open. Doors,
Yeah.
I can't stand for doors to be open. And I don't know if I'm just OCD, you know, to that point that I'm just anal about things like that. I don't know, you know, but that was one of those, like, you know, that was one of the things that you mentioned, and I didn't even really think about it, you know, until your question reminded me. And I was like, oh yeah, shit, I forgot about that. I can't stand to walk past an open window.
Yeah.
I think I do crave excess amounts of salt.
See, that's well, I sometimes eat things that are high in sodium, but as far as adding salt to things, I don't really do that. But like, you know, I do eat frozen dinners. I know it's not a good thing to do, but it's just quick and easy, and sometimes I just don't feel like cooking. So yeah, I don't know about all that. When I was younger, I liked it a lot more, but I don't know.
What's up, Jeff Hawk?
I'm not doing this.
Uh-oh, Momo.
Momo's not wanting to play tonight.
Whee! I was an upside down Momo. Can you not do this, please? She like literally just started doing this. It's like I set up my little situation, and she's like, "Oh, it's time to do this."
It's party time.
It's the opposite of Ivana. It's like, oh, it's time to go live. I better put my
Better
party
get my
back on.
That's right, Mom. People are here to the internet's here to watch me, Mom.
I'm sure people don't want to see Momo pounding on doors. I don't think that's what they came here for. I know Andrew didn't come here for that. So anyway,
But, yeah.
that is why I asked you the question, because, you know, a lot of things people just don't think about. They just think it's like random stuff. They don't really think there's anything to it. But, you know, I delve pretty deep into the stuff, especially when I'm in my little modes, I like to call them, or whatever you want to term it, where I kind of obsess over it, and then I have to, you know, take a step back because I start freaking myself out. But, no, my computer problems are not resolved. I'm on a different computer. So, yeah, I delve pretty hard into it. If I can remember, I'll link some of the paranormal websites that I go on. There's one that's like a forum where it talks about like ghosts, UFOs, like anything kind of paranormal related, and they're like separated. It's kind of like an ECF format where there's like threads and stuff like that, and you can post on them. There's a lot of weird shit on there. You know, YouTube is a good one for like just, you know, watching videos. I've pretty much, I think, seen most of them just because I go on binges. And, you know, just random websites. And like I said before, Paratopia is a good podcast if you like podcasts and don't want to watch something, you can just listen to it. It's a really good thing for people like me who kind of have like OCD and can't focus on one thing. Like I used to do that and do like make jewelry a lot, or back before I was streaming, I'd play video games while listening to it. Unfortunately, now that I'm streaming, I can't really do that because I don't know if there would be copyrighted or something. Plus, it'd be kind of confusing for the viewer. But yeah, that's what I would use. I would do a lot is just like do it in the background, something different to listen to. Because I have trouble focusing really on anything, especially if it's just audio. It's like I can't focus on it unless I'm doing something else because I zone out. But Paratopia is a really, really good podcast, and they talk about everything and make you question and think of things that you probably wouldn't have otherwise. So another thing I asked him is about, have you had any, like, time discrepancies, like whether it be missing time, slowing down of time, anything weird like that?
Yeah, that was the one I was fixing to bring up. Was I haven't had the like what your deal but I've had weird things like when I was younger. You know, like because we used to live on a bunch of woods behind our house, and I'd always go back there, you know, praising hell and whatnot. And it happened a couple of times. I'd be back there. I think I was back there, you know, for like 30 minutes or 45 minutes, and come to find out I was back there for like 5 hours. And you know, it just that only happened like twice, and it just totally it blew my mind because, you know, honestly, I only recalled like 45 minutes, maybe an hour at most, and I had no way to explain it. You know what I mean? Because in my mind, it was only a 45-minute jaunt through the woods.
Yeah, and some people would say, oh, you just lost track of time. And I think in some cases that could be true, but like 45 minutes to 5 hours is kind of a big loss of time.
Well, yeah. Well, and I was shooting my guns, you know. I had, at the time, I think I only had 4 30-round magazines. And, you know, those don't take no time to go through, you know. I mean, so I know it wasn't fine. And I was just back there shooting stuff. I wasn't hunting or anything. You know, I was just blowing up stuff down by the pond and in the woods. So, like I said, that happened twice, and I don't know.
Yeah, that's never happened to me. I've never really, that I can recall, come across any kind of missing time outside of when I'm trying to sleep. But, you know, honestly, I have so many issues sleeping that it could just be what they call micro sleeping, or I could just be straight up blacking out. I don't want to, you know, not think of those as a possibility, because it could be nothing paranormal related, but
yeah,
it's kind of weird. But I don't know if there's anything actually to it or what.
Yeah, I think my sleep, like even with my sleep issues, they started when I was younger. I've always been a night owl. Even as a little bitty kid, my mom said that I always wanted to stay up at night, and now I don't want to stay up at night, but I can't sleep.
Yeah, and that's
You know,
the weird thing with.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that's the weird thing with me is, like, for whatever reason, and it gets worse in certain times, and there's no pattern that I've been able to find out of, like, why I get into these modes or whatever, but I don't really have issues sleeping during the day. It's just at night when everyone else is supposed to be sleeping and when I should be sleeping to have, like, some kind of normalcy. And it's really annoying, and it's just like, there's no particular reason. I used to think it was caffeine, but honestly, I'll go the whole day without caffeine, and it still will be an issue. Like, it doesn't seem to matter. And then, like, during the day, I've had, like, espresso and literally passed out within, like, an hour of consuming it. So I don't think it has anything to do with that. It's just, I don't know what it is. Sometimes it's mind racing, but, I mean, that happens all the time for me, honestly. So I don't understand why it would be worse at night during the day. Maybe there's just not as many distractions or something. I don't know. But I agree. I've always been a night person, which is also another common thing with experiencers, especially people that are interested in extraterrestrials. They all tend to be night owls, like almost all of them.
Yeah.
That's kind of strange. Like, it doesn't really make sense.
Well, I think what they found is, going back to the original study, I think what they found is that the person might not have started out as a night owl, but eventually turned into a night owl. And I think a lot of that might have been to avoid sleeping at night. I don't, like I said, I don't know. That's what I've read that in the past.
Yes, they say that abductees do have, or some have, or they speculate they have an aversion to sleeping at night because that's when the abductions happen. So they force them to wake. So they think that'll, because the thing you got to think about is, if abductions are a real thing and aliens are so advanced that they can do these things without being detected by the main population, You being awake during the whole thing is not going to stop them. If they want to take you, they will take you. So it doesn't really help any. I don't know if, I honestly don't think that's my thing, because honestly I've had sleeping issues as far back as like grade school, like early grade school. I don't know about kindergarten prior, but I know as far as early as like first grade, I've had issues, and I wasn't even into aliens back then. Didn't even know abductions were a thing, so I don't think that's my issue. But I can definitely see that as a possibility.
Yeah, I've always been a night owl myself, no matter what. I mean, if I'm left to my own devices, I'm up till like 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
So, me personally, I've never had an experience. I was looking at, because I watched the X-Files revival. Was that Sunday it came on?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I watched that, and my head, I was cleaning up my place because I've been doing all my spring cleaning early, and they mentioned a Malmstrom Air Force Base incident that I had no idea. That's my hometown. It's Great Falls, Montana. I had no idea. And so I found out, apparently, my hometown is one of the most active UFO sighting places in North America. Like, what? How did I not know about this? What have I been doing? Living in my oblivious little world.
Living in your own little bubble.
That's right, just swimming.
Right, and and just to be clear about the UFOs, and I've said this many times, like they're still not really sure what they are. They could be some kind of natural phenomena, like, because a lot of times all people see are lights. Some people claim to see craft, but a lot of times it is lights. It's just lights in the sky. They move abnormally. Sometimes there's other things associated with them. But like with my instance, I saw a light. I didn't see a craft. It was just a very bright light that looked like a star. And Lake Erie is actually very popular, or very heavy with sightings, with UFO sightings. And I can actually see the lake depending on like where I'm at from my house, because I'm kind of like up higher than like a lot of the land around me. And especially if I'm like on certain roads, like even working, if I'm on certain like big hills, I can see the lake from where I'm working. So I've really never noticed anything while I'm working or anything like that. Like I've only seen that one UFO. That was it, just the once. I actually want to see it again, like something similar, but it just hasn't happened. And I guess to me that kind of possibly means more than had I seen them all the time, because it was just that once. There was really nothing special about it. There was nothing like a pattern of any sort. It just happened, and that was it. But I would eventually like to see one again. It would be nice, but it is what it is. I mean, you can't really call upon these things. Some people claim they can, but
yeah, that's bullshit.
I don't really believe that. But I mean, your own.
I don't know. It's kind of like a two-way street, It's I'd like to say that I would like to see something like that, but then again, I don't want any weird visitors in the middle of the night, I don't want that kind of visitation or contact,
And that's the thing. You can't really request the level of interaction you're going to have.
Right. And I mean, if everything I know is true, I don't think I want any part of it.
It ruins a lot of people's lives. I mean, even if you want to think about it, that the person's just having a psychotic break or whatever it is, it fucks up their life. Like, any relationships they've had, it's ruined marriages, it's ruined job situations. It can just completely debilitate. Is debilitate the right word?
Yep.
I don't know why I've been having problems thinking of good words. I honestly...
Suicides?
Yeah, it's insane. Because, I mean, not only are they dealing with the situation, they feel like they have no one to talk to, because anyone that they talk to is just going to assume that they're nuts. which, you know, some of them probably are, but just being in that situation, even when I was a kid and the experiences that I've had, you know, I really didn't feel like I had anyone to talk to up until I met that girl, Courtney, which we experienced a lot of the stuff together. But that wasn't until I think I met her when I was like 16. It was in high school. And,
yeah, I think that girl had some bad juju or something.
she was sensitive. I don't know what else was going on. I don't think it had anything to do with her personality or anything. She's actually a really nice girl. She's kind of like a female Fresh. Think about a female Fresh, and that's kind of like how.
Did she have a lustrous beard too?
I know, right?
No.
Hold on. How far can I stretch this thing up today? We're up to eyeballs, everybody.
But yeah, she definitely was sensitive, and I'm not sure. I'm still not 100% whether or not these things are attracted to people, or if we're just more sensitive to their existence and they're already there. I'm not really sure how that works, but her house definitely had something going on. Because I was living here at the time, and I experienced nothing here. At the same time, when I would go to her house, just off the walls crazy. I'm glad nothing migrated over here, because I don't know how she dealt with it. It was fucked up.
Yeah. Well, we've talked about that. I don't think I couldn't handle that.
Yeah, and it's weird because I seem to, and I don't know how common it is, because a lot of people just don't talk about it if they've experienced it, because again, they don't want to, you know, open themselves up to ridicule and people thinking they're nuts, because, I mean, honestly, that's what most people think, is that these people are nuts. Yeah. But I seem to attract these people, like these people with these crazy, like, there's one person that I talked to, the stuff that they've experienced is insane. I don't know how they're still functioning. I literally don't know. And they're well into their adult years. At least with mine substantially decreased once I reached a certain age, and now it's like practically non-existent. But like theirs is still just going rampant, and I don't know how they deal with it. But insane things that happen. And
well, that could tie into what you had brought up before about, like, if you're steeped in it, you know, like the more you have it on your mind or in your mind, the more prone maybe you are to it.
yeah, I think you do tend to attract similar people to you, like even just like in normal situations.
Right.
It makes
I
you
don't
wonder, because honestly, it seems like there's like a force behind this whole phenomena. What the purpose of it is, I don't really know. Like, I don't know what they're hoping to achieve, but there seems to be like a driving force, and I don't know if like it purposely brings us together for whatever reason. I don't know.
There's a couple schools of thought on that. It kind of depends on which one you subscribe to, I suppose. A lot of people think that, because I've heard of experiencers that live, you know, thousands of miles apart, never knew each other, never met each other, and then lo and behold, one day somehow they meet, you know, like in passing or something, and then they're like, oh, hey, you know, aren't you so and so, and I met you on a ship or something, some shit like that, you know. They're like, oh yeah, you know, you look familiar. I mean, there's a couple of stories I've heard like that, and it's kind of like manifest destiny, I guess you could say, that somebody else put together and somehow brought these people together. Chad and Alta is a great example. You can Google them on YouTube. They've got a really weird story, and that's how they were brought together. You know, because they live like 4 states apart and had never met each other, and they just felt drawn somehow they were drawn to each other, and this was the only thing that they had in common.
Yeah.
Some people think that there's not really a harvest going on, and it's not really a DNA thing going on, but that they're trying to jumpstart the human mind again, like how they did. Well, how the theory goes that they think they did from when man basically crawled out of the jungle, and then all of a sudden had, language and, was developing, religions and things like that. They said that happened in like a geologic blink,
Yeah.
and a lot of people subscribe to the theory that, that there was help from, elsewhere.
Honestly, I do to an extent. I mean, I'm not very versed in the whole evolutionary process, our DNA and all that. But from what I've read, like the couple of things that I've read and watched, we had a drastic jump from one thing to another, where it happened way too fast for it to happen naturally.
Yeah.
And there's really not a good explanation for it, at least none that they're willing to divulge.
Yeah.
So,
all the anthropologists says that if you go back and look at it, they said that it's impossible to have jumped the way that the Homo sapien jumped. It's just well, they just says it's just impossible. The math doesn't add up.
Yeah, and that's one of the prevailing theories about extraterrestrial life, is that life is so harsh out there in the universe that most life in the universe isn't going to make it to the evolutionary phase where we jumped like we did.
Right.
Something's going to wipe it out, and that's why That's why there's not billions of life forms floating around all Star Trek style. And I believe there's a lot of. I believe that's fairly valid.
Yeah.
Evolution is bullshit.
Well, and that goes to why a lot of them are thinking now that this recent upsurge in contact, they're thinking that that's what's going on, is that they're doing another jump or another leap in human intelligence, or whatever you want to call it.
I mean, look at the technology jump in the last 50 years. It's incredible.
Yeah.
And every time we turn around, something new's coming out, and there's plenty of theories out there about why all of it's happening.
Well, the Industrial Revolution's a hell of an example.
Yeah, and maybe our sun mutated us, and we were microorganisms, something like that. We got some radiation. That's what caused the evolutionary jump. But it's there's a lot of prevailing theories out there, a lot of cosmic radiation that we can't account for, things like that. Because we have no real way to measure it. Despite all of our advances, we are still in our scientific infancy.
Oh yeah. Well, we're still in. I think we're still in our evolutionary infancy as well.
Absolutely.
I mean, we're still a pretty dumb creature. I mean,
absolutely.
We still kill each other. I mean, we kill each other for some of the stupidest reasons. What intelligent life form is going to look down at us and go, well, those fellas are pretty smart. Let's bring them up to the to the cosmic, watering hole, and let them join our galactic, crusade. They're going to like, look at them idiots down there, blowing atomic bombs up and destroying their planet right out from underneath their asses,
Right,
like, screw them. They need to cook a little longer.
Do you have a link of John Abate? Do you have a link?
What's up, Giz?
Howdy.
I like your spectacles.
Why, thank you, Ren.
I do dig those specs. They're way better than mine.
Hey, whatever works.
So I have a little input.
All right.
I follow a lot of, and I've done a lot of reading on ancient alien theory and so on and so forth. And what I find compelling is the physical evidence that you find in ancient sites like Machu Picchu and the skulls that they found that are shaped like aliens. And I think that it's strange that all of those ancient cultures built pyramids. You know, it's kind of weird that they would all come up with a similar concept at the same time. And
So
to
many
me,
of
it's
them are.
compelling that they would be, you know, possibly flying around in their crafts from Egypt to Mexico. And of course, the indigenous people of those times would naturally think that, you know, these were the gods.
Yeah.
Ah, so you're a Stargate fan.
Yeah, I think that, you know, 200 years from now, you know, we keep learning more things, and I think that at some point they may uncover facts that 200 years from now they might have gone, well, God, why didn't they? I mean, it was obvious. You know, why didn't they pay attention to this stuff?
I think you're absolutely right.
I got a Rin.
Okay, thank you. It's hard for me to do anything, guys, that involves typing and stuff because I'm on my laptop, so it's like all the way up here. So make fun of my high angle if you want, but whatever. It's where it's got to be.
But yeah, I think you're absolutely right, Giz. I mean, because we've talked about it in the past, you know, that they would, you know, they see something coming down, and that, you know, they only describe it the only way that they know how to describe it, you know, in words and things that they know of at the time, you know. You know, a shimmering, like a chariot of fire, you know. I mean, that's just something that they can think of. It's a means of conveyance, and you know, it appears as though it's on fire. You know, there you go. You got you got a classic UFO. You know,
it's pretty much blatantly described in so many of those ancient societies.
Yeah.
You know, whether it be Hindu or you know, Korean. You know, there's pyramids all over the planet.
Yeah.
You know, you have Egyptian, you have Mayan, or
Yep.
you know, you have them all over South America. And to me, it's just overwhelming evidence, true evidence. If you're, you know, if you open your eyes, that we know very little about the history of our Earth. You know, I'm kind of a history buff, and I think that our history is rather limited. I mean, really, they only the last 2,000 years might have been highly documented, but before that, it was mainly stories passed down from people to people. And
yeah.
Hello there.
Hello.
Ah, hello.
Hello.
In full disclosure, there's like I guess a different guy that has heavy metal, one word, and then vapor. I think I sent it to him. I don't know if that's you.
Let's hope not. Some fucking weirdo will jump in here.
Yeah.
what's up, Andrew?
Mr. Gizzard Stew. Imagine that. A normal, a paranormal conversation with you involved in it. I don't believe it.
Imagine that.
And fuck Tom Brady.
Well said, Gizzard Stew. Well said.
I love you too, Giz.
Somebody put the DNA thing up there. Supposedly, and I think that's what Yeti was getting onto, is supposedly they're upgrading our DNA, and that's why the abductions are happening. Whether or not that's true, I don't know, but that's a big theory of why they're abducting people. I'm guessing only certain people are compatible with it. I don't know.
I'll let you know when I grow a foot. And 6'4" fresh would be a dangerous beast on this planet.
Well, the problem is, though, is a lot of the ETs are tend to be shorter, especially the ones that they see. So they're about your height or actually shorter.
So I'm genetically superior is what you're saying, right? Got it.
So people start shrinking. So Andrew, if you start shrinking.
That's right.
I don't intend on shrinking at all.
I mean, if you want to keep up with the evolutionary chain, Andrew, it's got to happen.
Well, you know, Fresh, they also say that evolution is phasing out beards, but looking at the men on this panel, that's not happening.
I agree.
You know, look at some of the kids that are coming up these days. That I say kids, they're between 18 and 25 when most of us started getting the vast majority of our facial hair. They don't have it anymore. You know.
Or it grows in terribly, just terribly.
Yeah, just like blotchy.
Yeah, my poor younger brother's got that. He can do a mean stash, and that's about it.
That could be all the hormones in our food, though.
Yeah, that's true. All the hormones in the water.
Well, in our food and our milk, everything.
I love them steroid chickens, man. Them things are awesome.
Yeah, they are. I never knew I needed a 50-pound chicken, but
legs like bodybuilders.
That's right.
I need me a Costco gigantic chicken.
Hell yeah.
Costco makes some surprisingly good food.
I've only been there once.
Welcome, my babes.
So are like my boobs like a bat signal? Like I put my boobs up and it just like lights up and then everybody just starts coming? Well, wait a minute. Coming was not the right word.
Oh, it was entirely the right word, Ren.
Oh, it was 100% correct.
Yeah.
Whatever, as long as I don't gotta see it, that's fine. I can't control what people do with their hands.
That's
You're drinking pure-lead waters, escargot. How are the Lions looking for next year?
The question.
Crickets.
Crickets? I thought that was clever. Oh well.
Hashtag Wayne Fonts.
So have you had any experiences, Andrew, or are you just like, interested in it?
No, I was more interested in the cosmic end of this conversation. Somebody in chat had mentioned, that well, like Fresh said, evolution is bullshit. Well, you can look at these right here. Evolution's not bullshit, my friend. Number two, they were saying, that there's no way aliens had visited or that we'll ever get to them. Well, you can't make a statement like that because what we know of the visible universe, right? What we would consider our cosmos is only a microcosm of what is actually out there. So to say that nobody's ever been here or we're not ever going to go anywhere else, please tell me the lottery numbers because I need some extra money, but I don't know.
Very bold claim.
I don't know so much that I've never seen a fucking alien ship. I've seen some weird ass shit that I can't explain, but c'est la vie, right?
Exactly. I'm the same way. I've seen some weird ass shit I can't explain, and that's the stuff that fascinates me. The shit that I can't explain, because I'll explain the shit out of anything.
Yeah, like paranormal stuff. I can see. I'm kind of at a conundrum with the whole paranormal stuff too, because in order for me to believe in the paranormal, then would lead me to either believe in some form of afterlife, which I kind of keep my religious beliefs to myself, but I think when I die, I turn into fucking worm food. You can't completely you can't completely destroy energy. It always turns into another form of energy. That's just the way shit works. But I guess if I'm destroyed energy, quote unquote, I die, I turn into energy in the form of, 10 billion years from now, my bones become fossilized rock for whatever fucking, for whatever minerals they can leach out to go back into the earth to be fuel for something else.
Yeah. Yeah, we're the next great fossil fuel.
Yeah, exactly.
There's
You're
something-
gonna come
something
back
to
as a circus peanut.
Yeah, I mean, if they're watching this 100 million years from now, you're welcome.
That's right. Is your attention energy? Your attention's electrical synapses firing in your brain. Once again, this is shit we can't explain. I'm all about trying to figure out what the hell's going on in the brain.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
I know, right? Chemical imbalances, and it still doesn't explain a quarter or even a hundredth of what's going on, or a millionth of what's going on.
See, I grew up with a parent who had epilepsy, and I never understood what it was, that what was actually going on. And I spoke to two of the top neurosurgeons in this country at the age of 16, 17 years old, and I still had no fucking clue what they were talking about.
Exactly, and most of the things that we know about the brain are working theories. It's this kind of works. We don't know why, but we're doing it. We don't know why this chemical imbalance causes this, or we don't know why this synapse firing causes this, but we know that this affects it. That's kind of where we're at.
Well, the way I understand it is something like epilepsy or seizures, as most people would call it, is just a random firing of the brain that's a 404 error code on your internet. You know what I'm saying? So you got a random fire over here that's supposed to be received on this side, and it can't be received.
Yep.
So it causes a shutdown. It's a 3-car pileup on the fucking interstate.
Yep. And what was the? Who's the guy? What was the miner who got the spike shot through his head? I always forget that.
I don't know.
But how there was a miner, and he was working with some sort of a giant spike, and he was using it to like prod rocks, and somehow it got caught in the explosion. Actually wound up getting shot almost directly through the center of his brain, and it completely took out his emotional control. I'm sure someone that's watching will say the guy's name. It's fascinating. You sever one little portion of the brain, and all of a sudden the person has no emotional control.
Yeah, it's like it's like a lobotomy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like we have a fair idea of what portions of the brain do this, but what's the rest of it doing?
Well, it's like people. I heard of a guy who got shot with a .22 long rifle in the front right-hand side of his head, and it went in through his skull, grazed his brain, and went out through the other side of his skull, and it only traveled about 4 inches through his body, but after that, he became like a fucking piano savant. For some, I don't know how it happened, but he said in the interview that he could see music. You know, he could see the different notes. He never had any musical talent beforehand, but it's like severely changed his life because he could not get away from the music. And then finally he sat down at a piano one day and he knew where those notes were coming from. He couldn't tell you what the name of the note was, but he could play it. You know, and this guy he went from just your average Joe who got shot in the head at a random gas station mugging one night to a concert pianist in 48 hours.
That's fantastic.
Well, he got lucky because he could have ended up as a greeter at Walmart.
Yeah. Yes, Uncle. The brain will bypass parts that are damaged. Unfortunately, sometimes it leaves behind the things that are damaged, like attention span and things like that. That's why there's a lot of research going on as far as the military about the TBI stuff, the traumatic brain injuries. John Lennon first. Oh, come on, John. Let's see. I'm interested in Planet X. What's the new planet? Hanging out there past Pluto?
I think they debunked that as a. I think they said that they're calling that an outer moon.
Oh, okay.
I think that's kind of what's going on there. No, I like astrology and you know, stargazing, shit like that. Have you ever watched Cosmos Fresh?
Yes, I love Cosmos.
God damn, that is one of the best shows ever.
Yeah.
Space is fascinating, but it's also really fucking scary.
There you go, Planet 9.
Well, you know what, I look at it like this: if you can look into space and you can dig into, you know, astronomy and astrophysics and stuff like that, and you can actually wrap your head around it and think about it logically, like I said, for us to have the ego to think that we're the only ones out there, we're fucking retarded. You know, that's what
I agree with that. That is retarded thought.
Yeah, I mean, to think that we're the only intelligent life forms out there it's so short-sighted that, you know, you might as well call yourself Stevie Wonder.
Stupid.
How is that stupid?
No, the way you phrase things is funny.
Oh, well, Stevie Wonder's short-sighted. I mean, you can't see shit, right?
Oh my lord.
But it does
You
put
use Helen Keller, but she's dead.
She can't see anything either.
No.
But it really puts into perspective, like, you know, if you're having a shitty day or something, just think, we are literally a speck of dust in an Olympic-sized swimming pool of everything else.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't even know if we'd qualify as a speck of dust.
So it's kind of like Dr. Seuss. Horton Hears a Who.
That's right.
Exactly,
Yeah.
a good book on this topic.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, am I the only one that just cackled at the end of Men in Black? I thought that was very amusing.
Oh yeah, where we're all just the entire cosmos is just hanging around a little dog's neck.
Yep. Or that we're a marble.
Yeah.
That's all it is. Our entire universe is a marble that someone's playing with out there in space.
You need to take care of the dog food.
And it's easy for a movie like that to make light of something so serious when you think about it.
Oh yeah.
It's just ridiculous.
Well, they hide a lot of stuff in movies.
Oh, of course. Well, what they do is it's strategic brainwashing. You know, if you can go to the movies and you can get millions of people to laugh at, laugh at something as serious as the fucking cosmos, then they'll never think about it again. You know, they'll never dig into what's really out there.
Yeah.
It's the dumbing down of a society.
Oh yeah. Now consider planets. Oh
So,
man, the Pluto discussions raging out there.
District 9 was a good movie.
So would you say that aliens are not only possible, but they're probable?
Yes.
So
I think they're more probable than anything else on Earth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I concur. I concur with that.
I mean, and
I also think it's going to be a form of life that may be beyond our understanding. There could be something hanging out in here, you know. But that's another big thing where we need to check our egos. You know, if you think that an alien's going to walk in and look like, you know, walking in on 2 feet, that's silliness. It's silliness to think that life would develop that way everywhere.
well, I mean, but here's the thing. What are the odds? You know, what are the odds that you know, somebody in Hollywood nailed it with the little green dude? You know what I'm saying? What are the fucking odds of that? It's got to be more astronomical than, you know, winning the fucking Powerball 2 weeks ago.
Yes, Brian B. Moraski. Yeah, I mean, yeah, different dimensions existing on different planes than we do. Stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, it's impossible to think that yeah, you know, two or four-legged or even having legs. Or
Well, just thinking about it like this, for it to be, you know, let's just say they're coming from, you know, a short distance, at least as far as the galaxy is concerned, and they're 1,000 light years away, right? For them to get here, you know, the theory of relativity says that you cannot go as fast or faster than the speed of light, correct? So you could go, if the speed of light's 100, you can go 99.99 miles an hour or whatever it is. But you can never go 100 or 100.01 because at that point you're moving, you would completely dissolve. You would cease to exist.
Einstein had a theory, though, that you could fold space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well,
you just fold it over. Imagine a piece of paper, you fold it over, and you stick a pencil through it. Well, it didn't have to travel from here to here. It just traveled from here to here.
Yep. Wormholes.
Yeah, but also in order to do something like that, you would have to travel faster than the speed of light, which would break you down to the atomic level. That's why I don't think you'll ever see a teleportation device. Something like that would be impossible to achieve because it would have to literally break you down to a cellular level before you could move faster than the speed of light.
I think that was one of my favorite episodes of. Do you guys watch Vsauce
Watch
on
what?
YouTube? Vsauce
Never heard of it.
on YouTube. They did it. What would it look like if you're traveling at light speed, and eventually you'd see yourself before you dissolved and broke down into molecules and ceased to exist. But you would eventually be moving so fast you'd see yourself sitting there for a second. Well, not a second. It would be beyond. At that point, time's kind of out the window.
Yeah, it's incomprehensible. But what I was saying was, so let's say the speed of light is 100 miles per hour.
Yeah.
You can do 99.99 and still be safe. So that being said, it would still take them 1,000 years to travel from our closest, what the Pleiades. They're one of the closest set of stars to us that could possibly hold life. You know what I'm saying? And they're well over 1,000 light years away. So we're looking at 1,000 years, you know, plus for them to even get here. I think it's what? Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Who are you talking about, Moobs?
No,
Jeff,
so, yeah, you don't know who Neil deGrasse Tyson is?
no, I was saying who we Neil deGrasse Tysoning.
He fucking he threw me off track. So, anyways, just for them to get here, it would only take 900, or just over 1,000 plus years. The four of us on this panel will be long gone, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So what Giz was saying about, Machu Picchu and the pyramids of Egypt, in this time frame, they could have been here, gone back, and made several trips. The technology is there for us to accelerate up to the speed of light. Whether we're going to use it or not, that's not up to us, unfortunately.
You're thinking in terms of our technology and our knowledge. Who's to say that what we think is really what's happening? And some people think that these aliens are, from a different dimension, and then that throws everything out of the water. So if they're coming from a different dimension, then they're not necessarily traveling from X amount of distance. They're just coming in through, which people will claim that they've seen it happen, where people are appearing and disappearing into what seems like warped space or rips in the fabric of space, however you want to put it. I mean, I get your mentality, but I don't think that completely negates the possibility that they could be visiting us and where they're visiting us from.
Well, most definitely, but if they're coming from another fucking dimension, everything we know about anything goes out the window anyways.
Right. That's a good point. I think what a good point that she has is, even if you take Einstein's theories, 500 years ago they thought the Earth was flat. So now we have all these new theories, and they're a solid foundation. But who knows? In 200 years, we probably will have figured out a bunch of shit that we have no idea about right now. So, you can't really, just based on our knowledge now, there's no way of telling, how fast an alien could get here or get home, or, they may easily have some kind of technology that we've never even thought of or thought possible.
Yeah. I mean, in 5 years, the technology is going to be, if it continues the way it's going, it's going to be unrecognizable to what we're using now.
Well, if you took somebody who was born, who was my age, I'm 34 years old. You took somebody my age, who was my age the year I was born, 1982, and you dropped them into today, they would have no idea what half the shit they're looking at is.
Yeah.
Totally.
What is this little piece of paper you have in your fucking pocket that you're talking to people on? Where did this come from? How are you sitting on your couch at your house talking to somebody all the way across the country? And they're crystal clear. It's like you're sitting in their living room.
Yep.
Yeah, they would. People imagine things back in the 20s and 30s, like Dick Tracy was a comic strip, and he imagined wristwatches that you could communicate, talk back and forth. And we have it nowadays. We have cell phones. even 10 years ago, 15 years ago, we were carrying around our cell phones in a freaking briefcase. So, you know, who's to say that, you know, the aliens haven't been coming back and forth for millions of years, you know, and this is like the 14th time they've tried to get it right with the new crop of humans.
And some people
Yep.
think there's space on the dark side of the moon. So there's that as well. So they're not really coming from anywhere. They already got a base here.
Well, and you wouldn't know because the moon doesn't rotate, so
Right.
NASA would probably know. They've been on the other side, but
China's getting ready to go check it out.
yeah.
That'll be interesting. I'm interested in China's space program. I want to see what they get. I want to see what they get themselves up to.
You were talking about Einstein. I mean, time is relevant. So, if you were if say the aliens were traveling at the speed of light, then sure, you know, 1,000 years might go by on Earth, and sure, we might be dead when they got back, but no time would have elapsed for them because time kind of stands still when you're traveling at that speed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's what somebody was saying. I guess it's been a couple of weeks ago. We were talking about stuff like this. You know, if we were to go into deep space exploration, you know, number one, it would be a one-way ticket. There would be effectively no coming back, you know, because the simple fact we don't know what's, you know, we would be going into uncharted waters, you know, as far as humans are concerned. And plus, you would have to have some sort of sustainability to where you could go through multiple generations. So it's highly unlikely that manned spacecraft would go that far, as it sits now, would be able to go that far out because you would have to have a set of adults who also had children, train those children, you know, as they're taught, and then their children would have to have children at the speeds we can reach now. I mean, it took the space explorer, what, 76 years to reach Pluto, and that's moving at 50. Yeah, and that's moving at 55,000 miles an hour.
Yeah.
So, you know, you look at it as time as we know it. Deep space exploration would take multiple generations of humans to attain, and then there's no promise of coming back.
Yeah. Oh, I think the first manned mission to Mars, I think, is going to be a one-way ticket.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
The Norwegians are already they've already had they put out some sort of newsletter saying that they were going to send a manned spacecraft to Mars and land it for the purposes of exploration, but there was no coming back. It was, you're going up there, and that's where, you know, you're just going to float off into space. And they only had 2,000 spots available. By the time they sent the email out, they already had 200,000 people signed up to go.
Oh yeah, I'd sign up for something like that. Hell yeah.
Well, I don't think I would. As insignificant as we are in the universe, I think I'd still let. I would. I'd hate to see you go, but I'd love to watch you leave, brother. Yeah, exactly.
I would wave at you from Mars, and then the camera would cut. That'd be. Deep space travel is an impossibility with our current technology. That's the thing there, Yunkel. We wouldn't have to worry about that because the technology as it went, we would be able to keep sending it out and sending it out and having it catch up to these people. Yeah, that's. I mean, the solar sails they figured could get up almost to speed of light, right? I'm not making that up. Solar
No,
sail technology could do it.
the technology's there. It would take basically a nuclear push in the ass.
Yeah.
To get it going, but that's the thing about space. It's a vacuum, so when you begin travel at 1,000 miles an hour, you don't stop traveling 1,000 miles an hour because there's no, you don't have air resistance, you don't have anything retarding that speed.
Yeah.
So you just continue on at 1,000 miles an hour until you either hit something or land somewhere.
Exactly. And that's with the solar currents and everything that's out there, all the unseen things that we have. I think that's the only thing holding us back from giving it the old go.
Yeah.
Too many unknowns, too many frightened people. But I mean, Mars I think in our lifetime, in all of our lifetime, I think Mars is happening.
Well,
What's a Dyson sphere moon? A Dyson sphere moon is a moon completely enclosed in a structure, and you use the gravity for the energy to power it. That's what a Dyson sphere is. Most of the time, they talk about Dyson sphering a sun, though, if they're going to do it. That was on Star Trek. You can't fool me. Can't fool me, Ryan McGuire. That was on Voyager. That's right. Yeti wants to get back in here. Did you get booted, Yeti, or your computer crash, or?
Yeah, he said he was having computer problems.
Oh man.
But also another thing that we have to take into consideration is all of these theories of, you know, the theory of relativity, the theory of, you know, Newton's law, stuff like that. We don't know how those pertain to out there.
Yeah.
You know, it could be a totally different ball game once you get to another solar system.
Yeah. How do two suns or three suns all orbiting each other? How does that affect things?
Exactly.
Yeah.
When you've got when all of a sudden you have two suns and your gravitational pull's not in a circular motion, but it's in the shape of an 8.
Yep.
You know, how does shit work then?
Yep. What does that do to time? There we go. That's what I want to know.
Well, that was a Star Trek episode too, where they reached a planet and their time was completely different.
That's right, because that was on Deep Space Nine, right? Where it kept jumping in and out.
I don't think so, because I wasn't a big fan of that show. I think it was either Voyager or Next Gen. I think it was Voyager, and then they were like debating on whether they should go down there. I forget why they had to go down there. There was a reason they had to go down there, and the time was just so different. I think it was
that had to have been Voyager.
Yeah, I think they lost a couple of crew members down there, and they kind of had to go down there, but they didn't want to because they could tell something was off. But yeah. I don't want to get into the whole Star Trek thing. Some people tend to get pissed off about that. And that's another thing I can go on so long about is Star Trek, because I grew up with that shit.
I think we all did at this point. And I'm not going to get into it either.
I think we've been over that a couple times already.
Yeah. My brain was going somewhere. I have no idea where it was going. What was the thing on the news the other day about they caught a black hole actually emitting something? Let me check that. I got them Googles pulled up.
Yeah, I don't want.
I think they called it a black hole farting.
Nice.
They did not.
They did too.
Did they?
Yep.
My understanding is that a black hole would emit everything it sucks into it, light included. So it basically looks like a volcano spewing light out of it.
On the other side?
Yeah, basically. It looks like it kind of looked like somebody lighting a fart on fire.
There it is. Okay, it's a black hole burp. Sorry, it wasn't fart.
Wrong end, I guess.
I was on space.com. I knew I'd read it.
So what did it burp up? Broccoli?
Give me a moment. It burped up. Let's see here. First thing star forming in dust areas, the more likely a few new stars are to form there. Center of a galaxy where a supermassive black hole often rests. The researchers. Why did this pop up? Ads. A mere 26 million light years from Earth has shown evidence of a huge X-ray blast outward that may have snowplowed or swept away nearby star-forming dust. So it emitted X-rays. So maybe we're getting X-rays from somewhere else.
Gamma rays.
Gamma radiation?
Yeah. That's what you get when a star explodes.
Okay.
Like a supernova emits gamma rays.
Yeah. Well, lots of stuff emits gamma rays.
Yeah, but enough of them that it could just, if it's close enough, it'll fry you.
Yeah. With the Big Hadron Collider? What about that? I didn't know we were talking about the Big Hadron Collider. That's opening a whole other can of worms.
Yeah, let's talk about the God particle.
Yeah, let's talk about the God particle, antimatter. What else could we talk about?
Antimatter.
What could we really get into? Matter versus antimatter. Come
I
on,
thought
Heavy,
this
let's
show
do
was
this.
supposed to be about aliens.
I know.
That's how my shows always go, though.
Aliens are antimatter, Ren.
So you end up talking about baloney.
Or dick.
Yeah.
Are we talking about penises now?
Sean says my cock emits gamma rays.
Sean's
Yeah.
does?
Why
Congratulations,
don't you get that
Josh.
checked out, buddy? They can probably give you a pill for that nowadays.
You ought to get that checked out, buddy.
I know, right? You're poisoning. Sean, you're
Fucking-
poisoning everything around you. Is that why Canada is a desolate wasteland? Is that why?
You ought to get
That's why Robbie
that
didn't
checked
get the
out.
notification.
Yeah, it's just space has always fascinated me.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
because you go out there and look up in the sky, and there are tons of stars out there that are already black. They're already dead. The light's just now getting to us.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many of them out there. That's why I guess that's why I always had a problem, or a hard time, I should say, buying into organized religion.
Oh, let's not go there.
Well, I mean, I'm not a religious person.
I'm
never
not either,
claimed
but
to
I don't think any of us are really on this show.
yeah. Well, then you all know what I'm talking about then.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
I always pondered this. I mean, you look up those stars, and even at the speed of light, they tell you how far away they are. So that light that is reaching your eyeball is like, 20,000. 40,000 years old, however old, you know.
Yep.
So, I mean, if you shined a real bright LED light up in the sky, you know, it might take 40,000 years to get back. I don't know.
You blinded some poor alien child on a planet with your laser light. Yes.
40,000 years from now, they'll see it.
That's right. That's right. 26 million years from now.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I guess they say some of the. I mean, they can see the remnants of the Big Bang or whatever. So, what is that? 5 billion years ago?
Something.
I mean, that means the light that they're picking up with the Hubble telescope, the light had to travel 5 billion years just to get to the lens.
Yep.
5 billion light years.
Yeah, wrap that around your head.
Yeah. 5 billion light years, not just years.
Light years.
Yeah.
And 100 years ago, we had buggies and, you know, horses. It's crazy, really. Everything that's happened in the last 100 years or 120 years.
Yeah.
115 years now. Think about somebody that was born in 1900 and lived to be 100. All the things that changed for them. It's weird.
Give or take a few billion.
Yeah, and that's only
we're
100 years.
playing with the cosmos. We can play around in billions.
Yeah. 5 billion years.
Light years is distance. Type much? And yes,
Oh,
I know what the distance covered in a light year is, Sean. Do you?
Oh snap!
Ooh.
Oh.
But is it going to be measured in kilometers or miles?
Do what, Ren?
Can you break that down into inches?
I can. I have a calculator. I don't know what a second with a point and 400 zeros behind it equals, but we can figure that out.
At that point, you just kind of hold it up to the camera and go, that many.
Yeah.
Icelis is out later, Icelis.
Icicles.
Okay, so it's
186,000 miles per second.
6.706 followed by 8 zeros miles per hour is the equivalent, the speed of light in miles per hour. 6.706 followed. It's fucking fast.
It's like Big Daddy Garlet's on crack.
Oh, Robbie Vapes in the house. What's happening, Robbie?
So what about those alien coils?
See if I can get my beard out sideways. Aliens.
I don't know.
Your souped up moped goes the speed of light, you uncle? Man. What's up, Robbie?
I don't know if aliens are visiting here. I really don't know either way. I mean, who's to say that they're in physical form? Like, a lot of people see lights. What if that's what they are?
Well, I mean, you would also think, I mean, a logical person would think that if you're going to go on a reconnaissance mission, you want to stay hidden from sight. So what do? You wear camouflage, right? You either dress like a local or hide in the fucking woods.
Hide in the woods. Bigfoot is an alien.
Yeti.
I don't know about all that.
You heard it here first on Rin's channel, The Truth Exposed.
But you're going to try to blend in with your surroundings. So who's to say they haven't created camouflage? I mean, for fuck's sake, they can already move at the speed of light, or they can, they're coming from a different dimension. Who's to say they don't just take the form of a human being? You know?
The lizard people.
Or they got one of those cloaks from Harry Potter, the invisibility cloak.
Yeah, cloaks of
They're just,
invisibility.
yeah, like the little green guy with the big fucking eyes is just standing over there with a blanket over his head.
Well, that's what they claim the gray aliens are. They're not actual biological creatures. They're drones, I guess.
They're a suit that can interact with our version of reality. That's interesting.
Yeah, and they can, exist within our atmosphere and all that good stuff.
I think all the aliens live in Canada.
Gizzard's up to his gizzardly ways.
That's right.
Yeah,
Well, Gizzard's just trying to explain Brian Adams.
the government says they're coming from Mexico for some reason, Giz.
No, those are grape pickers.
That's right, Robbie Vapes.
See, there's a good point. Look at Robbie Vapes. He's an alien.
I've already said I am, so it's no secret.
Yeah.
I'm a hybrid. I'm not completely.
Old Nigel T there. I mean, we're starting to explain some pretty rough things out there in the world.
Sean the geeky alien.
Sean the Geeky Alien.
Yeah.
No, don't bring him into this.
Okay.
He was a reject.
Let's see. Canadian aliens are a secret. Our plan is just to blame Mexico. Fair enough, Robbie.
The Nickelback. Nickelback is not pretty.
So Ren, let's expand on this. Did you just say you were an alien?
Alien, yeah.
But you said you're a hybrid.
Hybrid alien.
Okay.
Part alien, part human.
So what does that entail exactly?
Yeah, I'm curious now too.
You hit it. She has a tail.
I mean, it's kind of a joke, but I don't know. I don't want to get into that. People already think I'm weird enough.
I was going to try and present her.
You're the one that brought it up, Ren.
She did bring it up.
I'm just expanding on it.
I bring it up quite a lot, so I'm told.
So a laser light is wearing you as a suit. Is that?
I'm not saying I think honestly there's a lot of different forms of aliens. I think there are possibly biological ones. I think there are light beings. I think it's possible that they do have drones that are, implanted with intelligence, because somebody mentioned in the chat that they are or already have downloaded a person's personality into a computer. It's kind of like I think there's actually like some project. I think it's like Project 2000 something. I don't remember, but they're trying to download your essence so you could essentially live forever. So I mean, if humans already are in the process of doing that, who's to say that these aliens, these extraterrestrials, whatever you want to call them, haven't already done that and perfected it? If they are older than us, which a lot of people believe that they are because of like the distance they are in the galaxy or whatever, then they probably have mastered it. And why they're here, I don't know. I never claimed to know that. But I personally think if they are here, it's probably just for observation, just like we explore things on the Earth and observe animals, and that's why I think it's funny when people get so bent out of shape about aliens abducting people and dissecting them. It's nothing that we as humans don't do to animals, so why is that any different? Not saying that it's right or wrong, but I don't see how that makes us any different. Like I think they're demonized quite a lot. Like the idea of them is demonized, when in reality, when you think about it, I mean, if they're scientists, how is anything that they're doing different? You come to a new land, and I mean, I'm sure they see us as primitive, just as most people see animals as primitive or lesser beings, whatever. You know, they're gonna do what they want, and just it's not an evil thing. It's just science, and they're curious. So if they are here, if they're visiting, I think that's honestly what it is. I don't think they're here to save us. If they are, they're doing kind of a bad job, it seems. And I don't really have obligation to, you know.
But you would think if they were here to observe, they would at some point try to either destroy the intelligent beings or enhance the intelligent beings, right? There can only be, because nobody's just going to go to a fucking cow pasture and look at them and say, yep, we can fatten these cows up and get a hell of a lot of meat out of them. Or we can go ahead and eat them now. That, you know, you don't just go look and you're starving to death and you don't kill one of the cows and eat it. You know, so what's their end game? Are they coming to observe to see what natural resources we have? Or are they coming to observe, you know, what's their end game? That's what I would be concerned about. Because if their technology is so far advanced that they can travel through fucking space light years at a time, they've got plenty enough ammunition to kill everybody they come in contact with.
That's thinking in human terms. If they're that advanced, more than likely
they don't need to poop anymore.
Yeah, they've grown past the need to destroy everything they come in contact with. I mean, if you think about even just our planet, how evolved do you think we would be technologically, you know, just the way that we are in general, had we not been so destructive and so determined to destroy other people? Like, if we united as one and got past all of our bullshit, you know, how advanced would we be? We'd be so much more advanced than we are. But because we're greedy, because we have the wrong priorities, and we're pretty much slaves, pretty much, to the higher up people, and it's done intentionally. And I'm not going to get into all that because it's kind of like a conspiracy theory thing, and I don't want to get into that. But I mean, we are. I mean,
I love conspiracy theories.
Oh, I know.
Or maybe we're a petri dish, and they created it, and they're doing an experiment.
And that's another theory too. They're just checking up on their creation. I don't know. And I'm one of those that thinks it's a very good possibility that, as I've said before, that we as humans were designed and not by evolution. I personally don't think that we would have become as intricate as we are and everything like that just by simple, you know, science evolution type things. I mean, it's possible, but I just don't see it happening, especially in the time that it supposedly. I don't buy it, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, but the time that it supposedly happened, we're talking about millions and millions of years. You know, we're not talking about a couple of thousand years. We're talking about millions of years of evolution to get us to this point.
Yeah, but humans haven't been around that long.
Says who?
And science, supposedly, the same people that claim that we evolved. So if you negate one theory, why wouldn't you negate the other?
Yeah, but how can you negate the theory of evolution?
To me, it hasn't been proven properly. There's still gaps in it.
Well, I mean,
I don't think we evolved from monkeys. That's just me. I don't buy it.
Well, I mean, I don't want to believe that I came from a fucking baboon either. But it's closer that I came from a fucking baboon than it is that some big dude in the sky just went, and then I appeared.
I didn't say that either.
Well, I understand that, but it's a hell of a lot more believable than a fucking alien put me here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't agree, but I don't know.
I mean, look at. There's so many different species you can look at to see that there's constant evolution.
I know evolution is a thing.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with that. I just don't believe that we evolved from what they claim that we evolved from with no help whatsoever. I don't buy it. That's just me and what I've read and what I've seen, but I'm not saying it's not possible.
Well, I mean, maybe we didn't evolve from monkeys. Maybe we evolved from rats or roaches or fish. I don't know.
Or aliens?
I mean, yes, you most definitely evolved from an alien.
Why, thank you, Andrew.
Look at that mustache.
Glorious, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Genetic manipulation. Yeah, we're getting to that point.
That's kind of what I was alluding to, but
yeah.
Well, and back to what we earlier discussed, or I had brought up the fact that physical evidence shows that it's very possible that aliens were here in the past.
Right.
Because they found weird shaped skulls that, I'm sorry, but they just don't fit into the chain of events as we thought we knew. And they keep uncovering weird shit. And, you know, like I said, I think 200 years from now they'll go, God, people were so stupid back then. God, I can't believe they believed the shit that they believed. You know, just like we think people 500 years ago were retarded for thinking that the earth was flat.
Right. Because, I mean, the problem with science is that you only know as much as what is accurate now. And science is always changing because there's always new factors that are coming into play. So what's real and true supposedly now is not like the scientific truth, you know, X amount of years from now. That's the problem I have with it, and there's really no fix for that. But I don't know. I just try to keep as open mind as I can, because I think when you don't take into consideration every aspect of things, it narrows your mind, and I don't believe in that, and I think people should just be open to pretty much every possibility.
Well, and that's why evolution is still a theory and not a law.
Yeah.
You know, gravity is a law. That's something you can't change. You drop a ball, it's going to hit the floor. But just like you said, evolution hasn't been properly proven, so we can't just go around saying it's a law. It's still a theory.
Well, and on that, because you're talking about science, you know, there are a few things that have been proven, but most of science is theory.
Yeah.
You know, all of the new science, string theory is a theory, theory of relativity is a theory. It's all basically unprovable, so a lot of it is theory and conjecture.
Yeah. But most of them are theories
based on mathematics.
Exactly, based on mathematics as we know it.
Right.
You know, and that's the only thing that we can base it on is as we know it, because we don't know anything else.
I lost.
You know what I'm saying? If we were, you know, a life form on Mars, maybe mathematics on Mars would be different. You know, however, the only thing that we can be certain of is what we know. So we have to base theories on what we can perceive.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to say, our comprehension is our basis for our reality, and as we expand our reality and expand our understanding of things, that's how the theories change and evolve over time. Things are always getting proven and disproven, and or at least becoming probable.
Yeah.
Until we figure out something next time.
But I think society is to blame, as a whole, not any one group, but society as a whole is to blame for taking science out of the, science and math out of the big picture and putting it more on personal gain and what kind of car you drive and what the fucking Kardashians are doing, as opposed to, like Ren said, furthering humanity as a whole. We're worried about who's going to win the fucking Super Bowl. Go Broncos.
Go Broncos. So you're saying that basically we're getting stupider in a certain
Oh yeah,
yeah.
it's the systematic dumbing down of a society, and
Right.
the only ones getting dumber are, or the only ones not getting dumber are the ones who want the vast majority to become the dumb ones.
Yeah.
It's like the movie Idiocracy. You ever seen Idiocracy?
Yes. That movie is brilliant.
Yeah, so basically, hyper intelligent people get careers and jobs and they don't fuck and, they don't have kids, whereas the dumb, poor rednecks have 8, 10, 12 kids, and eventually all the smart people are gone.
Yep. Yep, and everybody's watering their lawns with Gatorade.
Exactly. Wondering why they live in a fucking dirt planet.
Yep. If you guys haven't watched Idiocracy, you should go watch it.
It's hilarious.
Yeah. I still have a hard time believing that the color of someone's skin or their what they believe is the determining factor in their value to society at this point. I still have a hard time believing that I see it in my own country all the time.
Yeah.
It drives me berserk.
Yeah, like in all honesty, I could care less who your God is, who you want to fuck, what color you are. I don't care.
Yep.
If you have something relevant to add to the conversation, I'll listen. But the sad part is, at this point in time, human nature is to be bigger and better, and the only way to get bigger and better is to be aggressive.
Yep, and step on the neck of the next guy.
Exactly.
Yep.
So we've moved into a survival of the fittest mentality when there's no survival.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no survival necessary. Like, we don't have to be this way.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Is that the hash? Is that? I think that's the title of tonight's episode, Ren. Hashtag fuck Tom Brady.
Yeah. I bet he's sore.
He bet with the whooping he took, he better be sore. You know who I feel bad for in all of this whole football season? Carson Palmer. I feel bad for that dude. He had a hell of a year, and he got ass raped by the Carolina Panthers.
How the hell are we getting football?
Someone said Gizzard Stu put fuck Tom Brady out there.
We were
That got my
tired
attention.
of talking about aliens. No.
I feel bad for Carson Palmer though, and Larry Fitzgerald.
Yeah, I feel bad for Larry. Kind of like that guy.
Yeah. The key to our survival is off planet. Eh.
That's sad.
I don't think the planet's the issue.
No.
The planet will
the
probably
pla-
be here long after we are.
Yeah, the planet when it gets tired of us is just going to wipe us out. I think that's a theory. That's pretty. It's
I don't doubt it.
There's some evidence to back that one up though.
Yeah.
A living thing.
Yeah.
We see a lot of
Um,
that now.
um,
Think about all this crazy weather and the storms that we have. You know, a lot of the damage that's done is stuff that we do to it because, you know, of our pollution and all that, and the oil extraction. You know, the oil is down there for a reason. What it's there for, I really don't know, but it has to have some effect on the planet.
Oil is planetary e-liquid, Rin. Planetary e-liquid. That's how the planet vapes.
Thus the volcanoes, right?
That's a new theory.
Why
It all comes back to vaping.
No, I don't agree, Jones. To me, the success of our survival is a change in mentality. It has nothing to do with the planet. Just like you can take a hoe off the street, but she's still gonna probably be a hoe.
Well, here's the deal too. We were talking about 100 years. We fucked the planet up in 100 years. So, you know, that's pretty bad.
The weather's controlled by the U.S. government.
I'm just waiting for the ice cap to move like over the top of Edmonton, and then we'll be all right. More reason to get off world.
Well, just go for another world. Probably the same thing. I don't know. I don't think fucking up other planets is the answer.
I was gonna bring up the Expanse, but since I think there's like me and 2 other people watching it.
Yeah, I have to watch it.
You'll be all right in Calgary there, Robbie. It'll just be a little cooler.
We're gonna start wrapping up. It's getting really late, and I'm echoing. But I don't know. Honestly, I think that reality is just a projection. I don't even know how real it is. That's just my thing.
I used to sit around when I was a kid and imagine I could see like the lines that divided it. Wonder if I could still pull that off. I imagine as we get older, our imagination fades.
Yeah. I think it's because we get distracted with a lot of shit that we should be distracted by. We're too busy worrying about paying bills and this and that. Where you're a kid, you don't really have that many responsibilities.
Let's see here. You're moving south, Robbie Vapes. I can tell my parents you're coming. You can go live in Great Falls, and I think they said there's over 100 UFO sightings now. I think that's what it told me. Go hang out in Great Falls. My parents will expect you to pull your weight though. Just letting you know, Robbie Vapes. Oh, Nigel's getting one of those rig roughneck combos.
Did you manage to get that one-on-one thing to work?
I haven't tried it. I got the text when I got home, so I guess I'll do it after the show.
I don't know how long it's valid.
They're in California, I think, so I should still have a couple hours.
I don't know. I don't know how long it's valid.
Work for E. They'll just call me and tell me to ship them e-liquid to pay you, Robbie. That's all that's going to turn into. This turned into a vicious cycle.
Was Ozzy Osbourne an alien?
No, he just tried to do all the cocaine in Mexico. That's all that was.
He's got to be an alien, man. Anybody that does that amount of drugs got to be something.
And still alive.
Did you hear the story about when he snorted red ants?
Yep.
Oh, yeah. In the middle of a meeting at Capitol Records, of all places.
What the
That's crazy. That is smart.
Ren, since you're an alien, can you snort a line of red ants?
I never owned one, man. No, I don't smoke. Well, anyway, if no one has anything else to add, probably gonna shut this down. It's 2 a.m. Everyone seems pretty out of it.
Yeah, it's time for me to jump off, have something to eat, and go to bed.
Yeah, I wasn't planning on doing this late. The real reveal happened, so
That was a good real reveal.
yeah, it was just very.
I enjoyed it. Learned a little bit about Mark Fagan. The penis talk was the penis talk was set aside for a solid 15 minutes. It was enjoyable.
I saw mostly getting involved.
Plus I like Mark Fagan. So
I like Mark Fagan.
seems like pretty good.
Yeah, Phil, that's why I'm leaving. I knew that you were gonna come on. Exactly why I'm leaving. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for everyone that came on. Sorry that you got booted and all that stuff. I don't know what that's about.
He has a crappy computer right now.
So go fund me, Yeti computer. There you go.
He needs an upgrade.
I can't help you because I'm having my own issues.
Thanks for inviting me, Ren. Good to see you,
Anytime you
Fred.
want to come on, Gizzard. I just don't know. I don't know who's like interested in what, so I don't want to invite people who are not interested in, and then we end up talking about big shit.
I'm all about fucking aliens.
Yeah, it's because you are an alien, yes.
Well, thank you, Andrew.
Say it like it's an insult. Anyway, bye everyone.
Peace.